What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we will be covering an updated guide for new Light Guardians on the best way to farm for Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms during Season of Plunder. These are two in-game commodities that you will find yourself in need of often, as they are an intricate part of masterworking armor and crafting deep sight weapons. You will also need these materials when purchasing exotic weapons from the exotic kiosk in the tower. But unlike enhancement cores and glimmer, Ascendant Shards and Prisms are not as easily obtainable. So we'll be covering all of the different and best ways you can go about farming these items for yourself. Before we get started, if you enjoyed today's video and find it helpful, then please be sure to help support the channel below by hitting that like button, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated. Ascendant Shards are a rare exotic material for Destiny 2, and there is a limit to how many Ascendant Shards each of your characters can carry at once. On each character, you can hold a total of 10 Ascendant Shards, with an additional 10 being able to be stored within your Postmaster, meaning that at maximum, between 3 total characters, you can only hold a total of 60 Ascendant Shards at any given time. When claiming weapons like the Divinity, Xenophage, or other exotics in the tower, you'll have to contribute 1 Ascendant Shard, along with a stack of Enhancement Prisms in the process. When masterworking Legendary Armor, it will cost you 1 Ascendant Shard. When masterworking Exotic Armor, it will cost you 3 Ascendant Shards. So the need to collect more Ascendant Shards is ever present, and even more so for Prisms. While you can carry more of these than you can Ascendant Shards, you'll find that Prisms will run out much quicker, as you have to invest much more of these into each stage of crafting and masterworking weapons and armor. So with that being said, let's take a look at the ways you can acquire Prisms and Shards. Both Enhancement Prisms and Ascendant Shards are made available through the paid version of the Season of Plunder Season Pass. Sadly, those who have just the free version won't find any options for either of these materials as rewards. And even still, those who own the paid version of the Season Pass won't get to relish in much glory at that fact, as there is an extremely limited amount of enhancement cores, prisms, and Ascendant Shards that are made available through the Season Pass. In total, you'll receive 6 enhancement prisms and 3 Ascendant Shards from the paid version of the Season Pass, which in my opinion is extremely dismal. Thankfully though, this isn't the only source of Ascendant Shards and Prisms. Vendor rewards are another opportunity to claim both Enhancement Prisms and Ascendant Shards. Vendors like Zavala, Lord Shaxx, Saint 14, Banshee, Drifter, the Crown of Sorrow, and the Sky Compass on the helm all offer Enhancement Prisms at multiple stages, with Ascendant Shards being rewarded once reaching rank 16 at the respective vendor. While ranking up through these vendors may seem like a trivial pursuit, it won't take very much effort to climb these ranks when completing bounties and cashing in on double rank and double reward weeks. These are offered throughout the season. As an example, this week marks for double rewards in Nightfall, so the amount of rewards that you receive at the end of each Nightfall are increased. But on another week, we could have Gambit with double rank, giving you an opportunity to crank out those Gambit ranks much more quickly. So be sure that you keep an eye out for those weekly in-game notifications that Bungie provides, usually on the weekend, for the upcoming weekly playlist bonuses. When participating in playlist activities for Crucible, Vanguard, and Gambit, it's imperative to utilize the activity mod slot on your Ghost, something that's very easy to forget and overlook, especially for newer and returning Guardians. Available on every Ghost, there is an option for a lesser and greater core or prism harvester. When equipped, these mods give you a chance at receiving either an enhancement core or an enhancement prism, based on which mod you have slotted. Each mod has a different requirement for you to fulfill. Crucible requires precision final blows, Vanguard requires defeating Nightfall bosses, and Gambit requires defeating invaders, giving you an extremely easy and passive means at farming for these materials. When it comes to Ascendant Shards, however, the best opportunity you will have for receiving these through playlist activities will come from Flawless Trials, along with Master and Grandmaster Nightfalls. So believe me, I understand if many of you, especially especially new light guardians, have some reservations over these options. And I completely get it. We're at a point in Destiny where the PvP realm is riddled with cheaters. There's a never-ending slew of skill and connection-based issues. And then, on the PvE side of things, the power grind has just gotten out of hand, having 20 to 30 level bumps every single season, only to replay the same strikes, the same missions, the same zones over and over and over again. And at this point, Grandmasters have really just become a tried and true in-game activity, set aside to appease only the most dedicated players who devote most, if not the entirety, of their lives to Destiny. But even still, this does not mean that Ascendant Shards are beyond the realm of the casual player. While Grandmaster Nightfalls and flawless trial runs may be a near guaranteed option at receiving Ascendant Shards, I would not consider these to be an efficient means of farming. 7 straight victories in trials is a tough and time-consuming feat for most, and not one that many would consider to be a reliable source. And since Grandmaster Nightfalls come with a nifty feature that kicks you to orbit if your team wipes, and requires you to reach 1595 just to enter, the prospect of Master Nightfalls becomes much more appealing, and for justifiable reasons, as the light level requirement is significantly less, as is the difficulty factor within the Nightfall. Not saying that Master Nightfalls are easy by any means, but not having the fear of being sent to orbit is a significant weight off of the shoulders. Your chances at receiving Ascendant Shards are not as high as they would be in Grandmasters, but the time that you will invest in completing a Master Nightfall opposed to a Grandmaster is significantly less, making it a much more efficient and reliable source at farming for both Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms. Just don't forget to equip your Harvester mods and pay mind to when Nightfalls offer double rewards. Outside of playlist activities, Guardians can acquire Ascendant Shards and Prisms through Master Raoul through his material exchanges. And while they can be an extremely beneficial option for new Guardians, these are not exchanges that I would make a habit of making lightly and often, as they can become extremely costly in terms of planetary materials, Glimmer, Legendary Shards, and Enhancement Cores. With that being said, Master Raoul does offer a series of rotating exchange rates, so it is well worth your time to stop by and take a look at what Master Raoul material exchanges are each and every week. It's important to remember that there are limits to the daily and weekly exchanges that you're allowed to make with Prisms, Ascendant Shards, and even Ascendant Alloys. And speaking of Ascendant Alloys, keep in mind that each week you have the opportunity to collect Ascendant Alloy by completing a Master Wellspring activity and by completing the rotating Legendary Witch Queen campaign mission. Before we wrap up today's video, I want to talk about one more option at collecting Ascendant Shards. Not necessarily a source that you'd be able to continuously resource, but if you find yourself in a pinch and are in desperate need of an Ascendant Shard, you do have a high chance at getting an Ascendant Shard back from dismantling a fully masterworked piece of exotic armor. So if you have any old masterworked exotics sitting in your vault, you might want to consider creating some space and getting some Ascendant Shards in the process. And with that, that's going to wrap up today's video on the best ways to farm for Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Prisms, and Ascendant Alloy during Season of Plunder. Thank you all for checking out today's video. Hope you've enjoyed and found it helpful. If so, then please be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated and both really do help support the channel. I'd love to hear what your thoughts on this season are so far and what you're looking forward to most out of Lightfall. So let me know in the comments below. And if you find yourself in need of help throughout this season, maybe with a raid, a dungeon, or any other new seasonal content, be sure to check out the Discord link in the description below and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.